Welcome to The Speaking Citizen. I am your host, Mehru Jafar. My guest today is voracious writer Koral Dasgupta, author of the Sati series. Without further delay, let's find out more from Koral herself what the Sati series is about. Thank you, Koral, for being here with us this morning. My first question to you is, what is the Sati series or the Panch Kanya Katha?
So, Mehru, probably both you and I are aware of how women have been explained in popular Indian culture. And it is not that the way I see it, that in ancient, when we look at ancient texts, they were written with a lot of philosophy in mind. They were not commercial fiction. So later they got convoluted into a lot of things which we will probably cover in the course of the discussion. But what I wanted to tell you right now is that when you look at women's narratives in any of the cultural texts that we have, we see women as very compromised characters who must sacrifice, who must lead their lives in a particular way, much to make life very convenient for their men. And then we are aware of this entire idea of women's purity, uh, which is related to the purity of their body, the virginity. And I come from Bengal, so sati is a very political term out there, where women have been burnt to retain their purity after their husband's death. And here, this Panch Kanya term is not something that I had coined. It is there in the Vedas. There is a sloka which says that if you take the names of the Panch Kanya, you become spiritually more powerful, and you dispel your sins. And Kanya, the term Kanya is translated as virgin. And then we have these Panch Kanya that Vedas have named: Ahalya, Kunti, Draupadi, Mandodari, Tara. You may not know enough about Mandodari and Tara, but all these women are said to have multiple relationships other than their husband. So, what came to my mind was that it is not our religion or culture which is telling me that women's purity is related with body. There must be something way deeper. And when I delve into it, what I figure out is that purity is not about the body, at least not in philosophy, not in the philosophy of a culture or a civilization. Here they're talking about the kind of touch that you acquire when you are out there and see a lot of things happening. So, for example, today, so many people on social media talk about so many things, and it's up to you to decide what you get touched by and become like.
But
So
there's
I
something called a popular narrative. We may have 1,000 voices giving thousands of interpretations of the same thing. But then one interpretation or some interpretations they capture the popular imagination.
exactly, and usually that is um, probably spread also with a lot of external push, which today we call marketing. But then there was this publicity and marketing which existed way before, and they were done to make sure that men have a particular kind of life of convenience, and women have a particular kind of life of complete lack of agency. And now when I see that here in philosophy, in ancient culture, what we understand by women's purity or purity of any kind is, for example, people say today that kindness doesn't make sense any longer. Now, do you get touched by that? Or you feel that that is not your space and you will not get touched by it? That is your purity. And that is what this entire purity, which has become a huge political narrative across many decades, many centuries. This is where it comes from, and this is how it is convoluted. It's so weird.
So how you talk of five Kanyas who I imagine were part of the ruling elite. They were part of families or societies or the way of life at that time of the small minority of people that is in power and is wealthy. How much was the subaltern population affected, by these values of patriarchy and what some of your kanyas were trying to do in their own personal life?
So, Mehru, what I'm trying to say is that this ancient stories, they are not, we cannot look at them as commercial fiction. They are philosophical narratives, each of which, each event, each character, each battle has a deeper philosophical meaning which exists for everybody. It is not like something that is happening to a woman will happen only to a woman. That can happen to a man also. That is the truth of your, that this is how things go ahead. I will give you an example to explain what I'm trying to say. We all know about Draupadi, right? If not anybody else, we all know about Draupadi. And what happened with Draupadi was, uh, what we remember about Draupadi is the uh,
She
courtroom fiasco that happened. But what we don't remember or we may not know about Draupadi is she was a fabulous homemaker and very successful at that. People from far off places, the sages and the devas, came to receive her hospitality. She was that successful. Now, some people in her family, people who she considered her own, got jealous, got angry, and they wanted to strip her of that cloak of success which she had acquired with her hard work. It was not that someone else had come and given it to her. It was her goodness that she was like that. Now people wanted to get jealous and they wanted to take revenge on on her
These
husband.
people, what was the gender of these jealous people? Were they mostly men or mostly women or who?
Of course, men. So they wanted to take revenge and they wanted to strip her of that cloak of success and shame her and tell her and actually make her feel that her success is not as big as her failure. Right? This is Draupadi's story. And Draupadi never gave in to that. Her success was that she was never shamed. She always felt that it was not her molestation, but the molestation of the Hastinapur court. It was the molestation of law and order. Now, this part we have conveniently, moved aside. We do not consider rape today as the molestation of law and order, the shame of a administration and leadership. Second thing, from an example to an example, if you look at Shah Rukh Khan today, he has acquired everything because of his hard work. Nobody has given him things in a platter. And he has an inherent goodness about him. Now there are people who are his own people who made him who he is, who for whom he has a lot of probably goodness in his heart. The same people are telling him a lot of things on social media to strip him of that cloak of success. And what is protecting him is his antaratma, which is we call Krishna, which is the goodness that he has inside. That is what I'm trying to say, that, every story is not necessarily that a man's story applies to a man only and a woman's story applies to a woman only. There is an inherent learning for everybody.
So the
Now,
battle really is between good and evil.
sorry?
The battle really is in society between good and evil.
Exactly. So when that is where, when we look at the stories from that perspective, no divisive force actually exists. There is no man woman, there is no uh, subaltern and privileged, there is no human animal. it appears for everybody. And also at the same time, I would like to say that there are stories of Ahalya, for example, was not from royalty. Uh, she was a forest dweller after she came to earth. Then there is Ramayana, especially, is full of uh, different kinds of humans, different kinds of animals, and different kinds of birds, all of whom were taking part in building that narrative. It was not a completely human narrative. There were the presence of different kinds of life who were together sustaining a society.
So which of the five Kanyas you've chosen to write about, which one do you have a favorite?
Favorite, I'll say Tara,
Yeah, and why?
because the last one that I had written, so the attachment is still there. And secondly, Tara, is animal kingdom. She is the monkey queen, and her husbands are Bali and Sugriv, the two monkey brothers. And since I was building that monkey life, uh, I had put in a lot of comedy in a story that is otherwise very tragic, because animals are very funny. Animals are very linear in the way they look at life. For them, it's very simple that a friend we forget never, an enemy we will forgive never. So, and they will, they are very loyal. They will not attack unless they feel threatened. So, going back into that simple way of thinking was a lot of work. And at the same time, the simple joy and simple comedy things that you see in the animal world was something that I could punch in here. And that was something I really enjoyed, because I enjoy humor. As a person, I enjoy humor.
Yes. So isn't Hanuman then so representative of the forest people and animal life?
I feel Hanuman was more of a recluse. He was not exactly a part of a society. And Hanuman was also an avatar of Shiva.
Mhm.
So there is a distinctive distance between society and Hanuman. Uh, he was as devoted as God can be, and at the same time, he is as detached as only God can be. So you would sometimes feel very angry with Hanuman, and at times see the reason behind whatever Hanuman was doing. The more earthly beings were probably Bali, Sugriv, Tara, and the society that they were dealing with. There is another called Ruma, who was Sugriv's wife. Then Jambavan. Uh, all these existence, which were primarily animals, Jatayu, uh, probably these are the ones where we see more of earthly emotions, earthly dedication, and to a great extent, earthly passion. They can do things knowing that they'll die.
What about Ganesh? You know how human, how best does Ganesh represent human life and the animal life?
I have not exactly worked on Ganesh separately, but I feel in these Indian philosophical narratives, there's a lot of uh, what do I say? There's a lot of mishmash, and there's a lot of alliance between various kind of lives. Not just Ganesh. If you see Pashupati, if you see Narasimha, uh, if you see I'm forgetting that form of Krishna, which was the pig form of Krishna. I'm just forgetting that name. Then the tortoise form of Krishna. Again, I'm forgetting the name. I'm so sorry. But there is a lot of bringing together of different forms of life, and you are trying to constantly show that there is godliness in different forms of life. There's Sheshnag. We are so afraid of the snakes, but then it is trying to say that there is God even in something as um, venomous as the snake. And that story goes like that Nagas were being very cruel. And even from that cruel population emerges Vasuki and Sheshnag, who were very upset with whatever their clan was doing. They felt alienated, they could not change them. So all they did was they took themselves out of that and wanted to do something good for the world. And they did, you know. So these are learnings that even if your uh, surroundings are giving you signals that you have reason to be cruel, you have reason to resort to violence. And if you don't exactly uh, connect with that, you can just take yourself and move aside and form your own story. Nobody is stopping you. Whether you want it is a different story. So, not just Ganesha, I think different stories, Varaha was the pig form that I was talking about. So, different stories from different realms of, yeah, our ancient culture are trying to bring different forms of existence together to create a narrative where everything is co-sustainable. That is my reading of it.
And can you compare or can you tell us the relationship or the differences between your Tara and the Buddhist Tara? Are they the one and the same goddess, or?
No, no, no. That Tara is Chandra's wife. So that is a very different story. And here it is about Tara, who is the wife of Bali, later married by Sugriv. And she is the one who is trying to raise questions and revolt against Rama because Rama killed Bali. And right from childhood, I think many of us who try to read the stories of Ramayana or Mahabharata would have a lot of questions in our mind. And one of the very fundamental questions in my mind was, why did Rama kill Bali the way he did? I mean, पीछे से जाके कौन मारता है? If you are God, you could have come in front and said that I am Sugriv's friend and what you are doing with your brother is wrong. So either you give him, do justice or fight with me and defeat me and go ahead. Why did you have to kill from the back? And if you are doing that, then that is not a very godly act, right? So when I was writing my Tara, that was also something that I tried to address initially, where Tara is constantly questioning Rama and Sita. Uh, there is actually one dialogue which the readers are loving, uh, which was a question that I had very deeply in my mind, that Bali is dead. And Tara is saying that the Bali who remained on earth, when I die, I will go back to that same Bali. You left Rama in the forest and went to Lanka. Did you come back to the same Rama? Or you find your Rama changed? That is one question that I had in my mind, which I have asked through Tara and tried to understand how the story spans out. And a lot of questions about Ramayana, about God, which is, kind of not very comfortable. It puts you into discomfort. It puts you into, uh, it raises a lot of questions. I have tried to find answers to those through this one.
Coral, you seem to be so impressed with ancient religious texts. You spent so much time studying them at a time when religion seems to be encouraging the slaying of human beings and dividing societies. So how do you keep your interest in religion alive in a situation like this?
Mehru, I really do feel that the day people understand religion truly, they will give up all these things. They will not kill each other in the name of religion. That is not religion. Crime, I mean, today when media reports a Hindu killed Muslim or a Muslim killed Hindu, that is religionizing crime. Crime doesn't have religion. It was the report was simple that a criminal killed an innocent. But when you put Muslim killed Hindu or Hindu killed Muslim, there are always supporters dividing and immediately saying that, Muslim killed Hindu. Hindus also killed Muslims, no? then immediately you create the chance of a waterboardery, and people start talking about, in so and so date, so and so riot happened, so and so people were killed, and this is the way so they killed, and this is how badly they treated. uh, this is not religion. Or
Would you
even
like to
if I
say
use the word,
something at this very critical juncture in all our lives? Would you like to say something to people who use religion as a crutch to disturb society, to kind of give a license to hate and violence? Would you
Mary,
like to
I'm writing these
address them?
books just for that, because it is, I mean, if you read my books, you will figure that there's a lot of, I mean, I have, it's not that you are a creative person, you probably know that no art is one person's creation. It is an external force that keeps blessing you, and it gets created. It is not that one person is so talented that that person creates amazing art. There is a blessing somewhere, and I really felt that. I mean, I have myself felt my a lot of my preconceived notions crushed, and I have reemerged from that. I have felt a lot of old faith uh, totally going down the drain, and new faith has developed. I have got a lot more calmer as a person than what I used to be. And I am writing religious narratives. If you look at them as religion, I call them religion. Yes, when it comes to religion, the moment you term, and it is not just religion, any kind of divisive structure. It could be man, woman, it could be India, Pakistan, it could be um, Hindu, Muslim, it could be Dalit, Brahmin, it could be anything. The entire game is that of power. One section feels that they are more powerful, and they treat the other section with some kind of derogation, basically to crush their mental stability, so that they are afraid and they don't rise to the same power level as them. And it starts right from our childhood. It is not something that happens when we are adult. uh, right from our childhood, when our thoughts are crushed without an explanation. हमने बोला इसलिए तुम्हें करना पड़ेगा. So, you know, that equation is forming, and that child grows up thinking that मेरे से छोटा कोई आएगा, I will also do this. And I can tell you this because it has happened with me. When I was growing up, I felt that जिस तरह से my elders scold me, मेरे से छोटा कोई आया तो मैं डांटूंगी, इससे ज्यादा डांटूंगी, so that I feel some kind of powerful. It happens from that level. And then as we grow up, everything, the more you fuel, the bigger it becomes, and that is how it is. I do personally believe, and it is not just a belief, it is a faith, it is probably my religion, that if you give in to understand the wisdom of your philosophy or religion, I don't think we all will need to fight. We are fighting, we are killing, we are causing cruel. I mean, we are treating each other with a lot of cruelty, verbally and physically.
So
Because
how does one make your transformation from looking at religion as philosophy uh, to the rest of us? How how does that happen? If there will be peace and harmony only if all of us, if the large majority thinks in the way you're talking about religion slash philosophy.
Meru, just today I wrote on Instagram, that uh, till the time we get to see the goodness around us, the simple goodness, someone coming and doing something nice, and you are conscious enough to see that, to accept that, not just someone giving you food when you are hungry, to be able to accept it wholeheartedly and know that this person has understood without being told that you are hungry. Like, I have a cook at my home. She has been working for many years. And she understands when I am angry. There are times when I am probably not speaking, but maybe the pressure, maybe something that my husband has said or something that my child has done. I'm not erupting, but I'm angry. I'm just keeping quiet, just trying to, soak it in. She understands that this female is angry today. She will simply give me an extra cup of tea. And I love that, adrak wali, doodh wali chai, jo 1000 baar ubal ke, the unhealthy wali chai. And she will give me that. And I know that she has done it because she wants me to feel a little more comfortable. And that is so big. People come, do their job, get their salary, go. She didn't have to do that. But the fact is that she has noticed. Till the time you are conscious about the goodness that you receive in your world, you will not be able to trust the
But
goodness that is
this kind of camaraderie between citizens is being overpowered, by making hate and violence almost mainstream and in public life. Like there is the fear of being attacked on streets. So how does one calm the society down if I'm even at a loss for words as how to deal with, these religious processions who intimidate shopkeepers and who make life unsafe, including for women. How does one combat something like that? Like you have developed a beautiful relationship with your cook in the privacy of your home and kitchen at a time when hate is becoming mainstream. How do we take these gestures also out into public life? Huge question.
Uh, so that what I was saying was that you have to be very, very, you and I have to be very, very conscious about whatever little we are getting from the nice people around us. Not every time everyone can be nice, but they always find reasons, most of them find reasons to come back with something nice and mean well. So if we are
you
conscious
realize
about
what we are against. You do realize what we are against at a time when hate and violence is almost
that's
given
exactly what I'm coming to.
official permission. And how do we calm down, people from
We
killing,
have to understand the
harming each other?
reason. We have to understand the reason why we are so restless and so cruel is because we are afraid. Fear has been instilled towards us. You know, in normal times, I and you could be sitting here and talking. Tomorrow, there is a riot, God forbid. And someone tells me that, Mehru is doing something at her home against Hindus. The tendency is that I will catch it, you know, and unless I give myself the opportunity to understand and be very, very aware of the goodness around me, I will not be able to restrict my flow of weird thoughts at a time when the situation is not so good. So when the situation is calm, I have to be very aware of the good things and I have to catch those signals and catch those vibes when they are reaching me and be very aware that जरूरी नहीं था कि मुझे ये मिले लेकिन मुझे ये मिला. And that is the goodness of life. Unless and until we are aware of the goodness of life, whatever is unknown to us will always be perceived with fear. Someone will come and tell me that, that lady, Muslim lady, घर में बैठ के हिंदूज के खिलाफ साजिश कर रही है. And I will suddenly be afraid कि हाँ ये हो सकता है. It's a different thing. You know that I have been in Lucknow. I have studied there. I have great friends who are Muslims, जिन्होंने मुझे बहुत प्यार से उस टाइम पे ट्रीट किया. I was a day scholar first, and then I became a hosteler, and then I lost my father in that city in the first few months of joining my MBA. And they treated me for those 2 years, they treated me like a child of the city. I am aware that उनको ये करने की जरूरत नहीं थी, लेकिन फिर भी उन्होंने किया. And because I am aware of that goodness, I know that I do not really have to be afraid the moment someone says that, Muslims ऐसे करते हैं, I will object. I will not accept it. And probably the same you will do, because you are aware of certain goodness that you receive from people. And religion तो बहुत ही personal चीज हो गई यार. Religion, gender, मतलब इन चीजों को हमने मतलब बहुत सर पे चढ़ा के रखा है, मुझे लगता है.
But, I'm sure these connections existed before 2002 Gujarat, before the partition of Bengal, before the partition of the Indian subcontinent. Somehow the goodness, like flies out of the window. But, as individual, as a writer, I don't know. But
Nehru, I can tell you something that I cannot tell you that it is a documented research. But to a lot of people who are often very, very radical in the way they talk, I have tried to have a discussion with them and try to understand कि ये है क्या, मतलब क्या problem है, And what I felt was that, you see, when the war for independence was happening in India, we fought together. Whoever could fight in whatever way we could fight. The intellectuals fought and also the uneducated fought. The Hindus fought and Muslims fought. The men fought and the women fought. And we were looking at one single goal, that was independence of the country from the Britishers. When the independence was actually happening, that is when this partition happened. And a lot of people have it in their mind, and this is mainly Hindus, but a lot of Muslims as well, who has told me that जिस दिन एक्चुअली इंडिपेंडेंस आ रहा था, उस दिन आपने एक मुस्लिम कंट्री बना के दोनों साइड अलग कर लिए. क्या जरूरत थी? Now, when I look at it objectively, I probably understand that a lot of Islamic laws are very different. I don't know whether that was the reason why the partition happened, or the partition was totally a political decision. I do not think I am the authority to comment on that. But the partition happened. And a lot of people do have that in their mind कि ये लोग तो बगावती करेंगे, मतलब अपने साथ में लड़े, उसके बाद अपना हिस्सा अलग करके निकल गए, और कुछ लोग इधर भी रह गए, मतलब वो भी चाहिए, इधर ये भी चाहिए. That kind of things have persisted in the minds of certain people. And now when one side has this kind of mind that उन लोगों ने वहां से मार के हमारे लोगों को निकाला, हमारे यहाँ पे तो लोग अच्छे से रह रहे, हमने तो मार के नहीं निकाला. Violence happened on all sides. आपने नहीं निकाला होगा. But it's an endless debate, and either you get it or you don't get it. Either you understand the flavor of secularism or you
you
don't
want
get
to continue to hate, you
Exactly.
choose narratives like Ghazni and Somnath. You forget the Rajput women who tied a Rakhi on Akbar. So you have chosen a certain narrative to perpetuate the violence in contemporary life. Yes,
Exactly. Or when something happens from one side, the other side will also not keep quiet. मतलब एक ने मतलब if one side is quite active, the other side will also be active. Now I feel that भाई 75 साल से ऊपर हो चुका है. Now let us forgive our past. हो गया है. And at that time, वो जिन्ना कहो, गांधी जी कहो या नेहरू जी कहो, they were under immense pressure.
To name the colonialists. You name Jinnah, Gandhi, Nehru, but not the colonial, the role of the British.
No, उनके वजह से तो ये हुआ. I am talking about those who accepted the decision. उनके वजह से तो ये हुआ. They were the ones who said that ऐसा करेंगे. These are the ones who accepted it. But those are the people who had a lot of pressure on them. मतलब आप सोचो, मेरे और आपके ऊपर थोड़ा सा घर का प्रेशर आ जाए तो हम लोग किस तरह से एक्सप्लोर करते हैं. These people had the pressure of the entire country on them. 75 years plus, isn't it enough for us to forgive them, accept them and move on. आगे देखें और कितना इस चीज को लेके घसीटे.
So we we went into uncharted territory of politician, but back to women, religion, uh, the entitlement also of women to power. So, but when especially in contemporary society, we have seen women when they do get the opportunity to be very wealthy and very powerful. Don't you think most of them behave as heartless as men, as far as uh, their place in power and society is concerned? I mean, the latest example is of Sheikh Hasina. Would you not agree?
Mehru, that's exactly what I said. That बात man, woman, Brahmin, Dalit की है ही नहीं, बात तो power की है. There are some people who acquire power and they cannot retain that balance. That is when they feel that they can torture or be cruel on the others around and establish that, you know. And it is not just, what you are talking about is women in the external world. Look at so much has been unleashed on women by their mother-in-laws for a very long time. वो तो एकदम domestic छोटा सा जगह है, you know. So the entire thing is about the perception of power. There are so many people from I don't know whether I should say this, लेकिन बोल देती हूँ मुंह पे आया है तो. There are so many people who are from that backward class, if that is the word, or scheduled tribes, scheduled castes, जो आगे बढ़ चुके हैं. They have a good life now. They are affluent now, but they are not willing to let go of their, of that quota and give it to those who are still struggling. So perception of power हमेशा इंसान को बदल देता है. Some people become very philanthropic. They really try to go all out to help. They know that if they are privileged, and that privilege has come from God, not from any human. So if they are privileged, it is their duty and responsibility to make sure that those who are not that privileged, उनको जाके आगे बढ़ाएं. Because that person has that capability, इसीलिए उनको वो privilege दिया गया है भगवान से. There are some people who can think like that, and there are some people who think that आज मैं एक ऐसी जगह पे हूँ जहाँ पे मैं दूसरों को औकात दिखा सकती हूँ. So they do that. It is never about, man, woman, Brahmin, Dalit, Hindu, Muslim. It is all about the power.
So on that very thoughtful note, I thank you for talking to the Citizen, and good luck waiting for your next book.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.